because it was just me and Kratos and what he was dealing with. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have something just a little bit different. It's still a review, but this time I am going to do a review on a video game, and that is God of War Ragnarok. It was released back in November, and this game won a lot of awards. It won the PS5 Game of the Year award, the PS4 Game of the Year award. It just won a lot of things. These last two games, God of War 2018 and then God of War Ragnarok, these two games are something completely different, I feel, than the previous games that came before. So God of War Ragnarok is basically a continuation of Kratos and Atreus' journey in the Norse mythology. We do see that some time has passed and Atreus is a little bit older and he's a little more self-sufficient, and he and Kratos seem to be somewhat hiding out. They do have a protection spell around their dwelling, and I'm pretty sure it's mainly to protect them from Freya and what happened in 2018 God of War. She is out for revenge after Kratos killed her son Baldur when he was trying to kill her. So in this game, Atreus has been looking for Tyr. Tyr is the god of war in the Norse mythology, and he is hoping to find him to get some answers about his own origin and to figure out what's going on with him, and to also solicit his help against Odin in Ragnarok. And during this whole process, he does meet one of the new characters, Angrboda. There are definitely a lot of new characters in this than the previous game. We have Odin, we have Thor, we have Tyr, we have Angrboda, we have Heimdall, and there's really a whole bunch of new characters, and they all get fleshed out pretty well. I really don't want to get into specifics with the game because I don't want to spoil it, because I think it's a great journey that someone should take for themselves without it being spoiled. But I will say this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Honestly, I don't have any dislikes about this game, except for I wish the story was a little bit longer. So I'm just going to talk about all the wonderful things I loved about this game. I really feel like they really stepped up the game. They really did. It was like some Martin Scorsese type of directing in Ragnarok. You had great character development, and there were a lot of callbacks to previous games. And there were also some nice Easter eggs about games that had nothing to do with this franchise. Put a lot of thought into Kratos and Atreus' journey. Like, they really took their time with this, and I love a story that takes its time. And they really wanted you to immerse yourself into this game. It wasn't just you're playing a game. They really wanted you to feel this game and really be invested in it. Like I said, it wasn't just about fighting. They really wanted to tell you a story. Some of the things I really love that all the characters from the 2018 game really got a lot more character development in this one. You get to see that Kratos and his relationship with Mimir has deepened. At one point, he calls him brother, and you do get a sense that this is not the first time he's called him brother. He really feels this and probably has been calling him brother for quite some time now.
Live with your deeds, but do not be troubled by them, brother.
In a sense, they are family. It's Kratos, Mimir, and Atreus, and the three of them have been together since the events of the 2018 game. Some of the great character development that we did get even comes from Freya. She has a great journey in this game, and I highly enjoyed her journey in this. And again, I don't want to spoil anything, but there were things in this game that I was expecting that didn't happen, but the things that did happen were so much better than what I was expecting. I was very much surprised throughout this entire game. Even the ending, I was very much surprised about pretty much everything in this game. I was wondering how they were going to end the game and how things were going to play out, and it just really kept you in suspense, and it kept you wondering the entire time. I think my favorite characters of all is probably Angrboda, because they gave her something more than just being a possible love interest for Atreus. They give her some depth, and I feel like she was kind of the driving force of what fate means for a person. I also loved Thor. I feel like they gave more depth to his character. He wasn't just this big guy who liked to fight and drank all the time. They showed other sides to him, but you also felt for him as well. He definitely was not a one-dimensional character, and I enjoyed a lot of scenes with him, especially the fight between him and Kratos. I think that's probably my favorite fight scene in the entire game. Everything was well written, and they really didn't try and skimp out on things that parts of the game that you might not pay attention to or notice, such as Mimir, like when he's on Kratos' hip and he's talking. even though the camera is not focused on him, it may be focused on a wide shot, they still make sure that his mouth is moving, even when other characters are having a dialogue and he just chimes in. You can even see other characters when something is going on in the forefront, characters in the background, you can see them reacting to what's going on, even if they're not saying anything. You see their eyes follow what's going on, and that they really paid attention to the detail in this and made it so lifelike. When you see them breathe or talk or take sighs, it is very detailed and it seems very real. It doesn't feel artificial. They really tried to make this like a real cinematic movie, it feels like. And even some of the things that you may have thought about in the 2018 game, where you might have questioned something, they kind of answer some of those things in Ragnarok. Like someone asked, why don't they put Mimir like on the front of Kratos instead of in the back? And they have an answer for that.
Mimir, wouldn't you prefer to face forward rather than backward?
We already tried.
There were issues with Viscera.
Oh.
There was a brief bit where I thought I might get used to it.
We did not.
That was definitely something I was thinking in the 2018 game. Like, why is he always on the back? He just sees the back of Kratos. And they answered this question. And so it was pretty cool to see them address that in a funny way. Another thing that I like, this is a very intense game. There are a lot of sad moments. A lot of people are dealing with loss and hurt. And, it may feel like it's a little bit depressing and, it's all this fighting. But there is like a nice quiet moment. They kind of give you a break when we're introduced to Angrboda. It kind of gives you a relief before everything starts going even more crazy. And I do think that was perfectly placed. And it also set up a future for multiple characters. I did hear some complaints before the game came out about Angrboda and why was she kind of shoehorned in there. But if you play the game and see the entire story, I think she was done really well. She has her own separate story as well that's in there. And she's not necessarily shoehorned in or, unnecessarily there. I feel like every character in this game, to the smallest one, has a purpose and they were purposefully planted in the game for a reason. Something else that you notice in this game is how much Kratos and Atreus' relationship has greatly improved. There seems to be a mutual respect, a mutual trust with each other to some degree, where they're actually working together versus Kratos just telling Atreus what to do. And it seems that Atreus actually listens, again, to some degree. There are some really great and tender moments between the two of them, and you could see the results of the end of the 2018 game has really cultivated the relationship. They seem more like father and son. One of my favorite scenes from this game, you actually see Kratos take off everything, the blades, the axe, his armor, everything, and he actually gets to lay down and sleep and rest. There's an earlier scene in the beginning of the game where he goes to lay down to rest, but he leaves everything on. All his equipment is on, and he lays down, and he doesn't really get a restful sleep. But in the scene that I'm talking about that I love, we have this quiet moment with him, and he sits there. You can really see the expression on his face and the weariness even without him talking. It's a very quiet moment, and I really enjoyed it. It's just you and Kratos, and you don't just see what he's going through, but you actually get to feel it. You get the sense of his weariness, and you also get the sense that he feels like he finally can rest. And you also feel a sense of hope there that he feels he's okay to take this stuff off right now because he doesn't have to worry about getting ready to battle because something might happen while he's laying down. And in a scene, you really do feel what he is going through. It's such an intense scene, and there's no fighting going on, but you feel everything in that one scene with him. And that is my favorite scene of the game because it was just me and Kratos and what he was dealing with. Guys, I really think you should check out this game. I would suggest playing the 2018 version, or at least catching up on what's going on in that so you know what's going on in Ragnarok, because they both really tie into each other. You really need to know what's going on before playing this game. And I can't wait for the next one to come out and see where the rest of this journey goes. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for more of my content. I'm trying to push them all out there for you guys. I hope you're enjoying what you like. And if you did enjoy what you watched, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.